ready to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
Здравствуйте and welcome to Russia. Welcome to the 6th round of the DTM 2013 season. It's the first attempt here in Russia at the Moscow Raceway. We had a fantastic qualifying, a lot of turbulences, and everyone is eager to be here for the race day. So we do have all the highlights for you. Please enjoy.
Thanks very much, Eve. Yes, we're just about 50 miles northwest of the centre of Moscow. This, of course, is Red Square, where they had the Moscow City Racing Festival a couple of weeks earlier and a DTM demonstration there. Ralf Schumacher amongst the drivers who took part, Vitaly Petrov also. But here is this track just over a year old and built at a cost, they say, of 130 million euros. Good crowd turning out in beautiful weather for the race. And Mike Rockenfeller coming into this event as the championship leader, but only a couple of points ahead of his rival this year and the reigning champion. And it is, of course, the French-Canadian Bruno Spengler. There is Spengler at the wheel, visualising a lap of this 2.5 kilometre version. We're on the sprint circuit for this first DTM race here. Crash helmets on. Matthias Ekstrom right in the middle of that controversy after winning the Norris Ring, then being disqualified. Robert Wickens thought for a while he had won it, but in the end it was declared there was no winner, and Robert takes the points for second place. Gary Paffett also involved in controversy at the Norris Ring. That incident out on track there with Edo Mortara. And there is a Focus Mortara with the Playboy back car. Mortara, remember, no points this season. So let's check out the circuit with a Hankook animation. As I said, we're on the 2.5 kilometre sprint version of the Moscow Raceway, and this has never been used before for an international race. And they're lining up the three manufacturers into the first corner, which is the fastest on the track, fourth gear. And after that, a short shoot, then down to a third gear double apex corner. Down then to one of the tightest bits, second gear, easy to lock up there. And then staying in second, and then the double apex left-hander. Then the circuit opens out a little bit. Technical part here, sweeping right. And then round a tight hairpin. And then now we're heading down the main straight. DRS can be activated here. And then very, very hard braking down into a second gear corner just before the start-finish line. There they go. And then traction, so important here as they come towards the flag and that superb grandstand. Moscow Raceway, as we said, we're on the shorter racetrack. The lapping here in just under a minute. The race will be 190 kilometres. Congratulations, Mike Rockenfeller. What a season he has been having. Taking the pole here, it was all very close and a little controversial. We'll get to that in a moment, but Mike Rockenfeller on the pole.
Yeah, obviously I'm very happy still because the lap was very good in Q3. We had a great performance in the car, and that's promising for tomorrow. But still, tomorrow is another day. It's a long race, and strategy will be the key.
Something different here. Q4 was cancelled at short notice. And explaining here, this is Christian Schacht of the DMSB. We got word that Putin's Ilyushin was in the air, which meant that helicopter, our safety helicopter, could not take off. And we didn't want to have the chance that maybe somebody did have an accident and need to use that helicopter, so we decided not to run Q4. So that meant that was an all Audi front row. There's Dieter Gas from Audi, because Matthias Ekstrom was right there in second place. Third fastest though, and he was very happy with this performance, was Augusto Farfus. There's Bruno Spengler. His lap not so good.
Unfortunately, we could not get into Q4, because then Q4 is always a new challenge, everything can happen. But at the end, I think we can take this P3 for me and P4 for Bruno. The race is very long. I think it's a new track where the strategies would be very important. So then I just want to get a clean start, try to get around the first few laps and hope for a very good race.
BMW okay, Audi on the front row. Disappointment of Mercedes-Benz. Best of their cars with a three-pointed star on the bonnet was Gary Paffett. He qualified only in 7th place. Christian Vittoris, who has had such a good season, finished in the points in every round. He qualified in 10th place. And Rob Wickens on the pole at the Norris Ring. He didn't even make it into Q2. There he is in the orange car, and he had this to say afterwards.
It's so close that, I mean, anything's possible with a good strategy. You know, I think I'm only 5 to 6 tenths off from P1 and I'm P18.
Yeah, it was that close, and there you see some of the times. Rockenfeller, Ekstrom, Farfus and Spengler, then Green, Werner, Paffett, Wehrlein, Juncadella and Vittoris, the top 10, and then Molina heading up the rest of them. You just see how wooded it is around this area, and we are just off one of the main motorways, the M9, which if you go on it will take you all the way to Latvia. It's called the Baltic Highway, but Latvia's some 350 miles away. So getting ready for this race, really the loss of Q4 didn't make that much difference.
Together with Matthias Ekstrom in a beautiful Audi R8 GT. What a beautiful car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty practical, especially when you have nice weather. I have one at home, but that one has a roof.
Oh, next time you take me for a trip. But let's talk about the qualifying yesterday. You managed it quite well, because actually it's the first attempt here for the DTM at the Moscow Raceway, but you're starting from P2, not too bad.
No, I had a pretty decent qualifying. I mean, we're up front all the time, and in the end to be second is okay. For sure, when you're so close to P1, you want to go for the pole, but then Putin decided we don't do Q4, so that's why we ended second.
But I have the feeling you're already focused again to the racing, but I want to remember Norris Ring. Are you actually okay now with the disqualification? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, in general, in my career, I did a lot of good stuff, I did some bad stuff, and for sure I have some memories of the good stuff, will have some memories of bad stuff, but actually it's history now, and looking forward, and after a great day like yesterday with P2, it's very easy to think forward. So today it's the target again to try and win the race and see if we can manage a big trophy for the guys.
Also, the water bottles and the pockets are history.
All history.
Okay, back to the racing today. It's the race day. What will be your strategy starting from P2? Do you have to save Mike Rockenfeller, the championship leader, or is it full attack, your aim for the victory?
I mean, I'm going to do my race to try and go as quick as I can. in the end, for sure, I won't make life difficult for Mike. But if he has a problem, then I will hopefully be the guy with the best position to stand in if he has any trouble. But if we have a normal race, the aim will be to keep my position for sure, and then we hope that everything runs good.
Okay, so thank you very much, Matthias. Good luck for you. And now it's racing time.
Yes, a very interesting answer there from Ekstrom about what effectively is team orders. I get the impression that Mike Rockenfeller, if he's close to Ekstrom, will probably be allowed to go past. That's how I read it. Still wondering about the situation with the water bottle at the Norris Ring. He definitely asked his father to pour it down into his pocket. We don't really know why, and he's told people when you really find out you'll just laugh, so we can only speculate really what was the situation there. Looking down on the grid, temperatures up in the 30 degrees. Petrov very popular here, and he was down on the grid also. So was Mika Hakkinen available to actually drive some of the Mercedes-Benz taxis. The fans getting the autographs. So nobody quite sure what the strategies would be with the option tyre.
Mike, yesterday during the qualifying we had some turbulences, but I think your pole position is a pole position, isn't it?
Well, it looks like I'm standing in the first row in the first position, so it's not too bad. I think the lap time was good in Q3. Of course, Q4 would have been a new challenge, but I was confident to have a good lap time again and to put the car on pole anyway.
You're the leader of the standings, second pole position, so you're already within the championship. Looking for the title?
No, I'm looking to try to win the race today, and I'm not thinking about the championship. If I can't win today, okay, I can't win. I try to make the maximum, but if you start from pole, you always try to win.
Yeah, you always try to win. Christian Vittori's there in 10th place. Has finished in the points in every race so far this season. Looking pretty good in the championship. Danny Juncadella, the rookie who's been having such an outstanding season and just getting faster with virtually every race. But Mercedes do seem to have a bit of a setup problem here. Tyre warmers coming off. There's the teenager, Pascal Wehrlein. And I think you perhaps saw there each of the cars with the name on the side in Russian script. That was an interesting innovation, just tightening up the safety belt. There is Gary Paffett then. Of course, tangled with Mortara at the previous race. And Gary always super competitive and just back from Silverstone Formula 1 testing for McLaren. Dirk Werner then, another man quite new to the DTM, second year with BMW. Jamie Green now with Audi, looking for his first podium finish, starting from the third row. Good possibilities from there. On the second row of the grid, Bruno Spengler, reigning champion. So thumbs up.
It's Jens Marquardt with me. After the Red Bull Ring, BMW struggled a little bit in the past two races, but now BMW is back in the second row with Augusto Farfus and Bruno Spengler. So what's the target for today?
Well, the target is very clear. We are in the second row, so the target needs to be the first row. But I think strategy-wise, we have something in our pocket, and we'll see 74 interesting laps.
Let's have a quick look at the three at the front. There's Augusto Farfus, who was Mika Hakkinen's tip to win the race, incidentally. Then on the front row of the grid, the two Audis. Matthias Ekstrom. Look at that exhaust system there. So Ekstrom and Mike Rockenfeller. About 9 of the cars starting on the option tyre. And nobody, of course, had run it in qualifying. There, the yellow ring indicating that he is actually running the option, and it will be a little bit quicker, but how long will it last? Let's check out the grid. They're the two Audis, as we said, Rockenfeller and Ekstrom. On row 2 of the grid, it's Augusto Farfus from Brazil, winner of the first race of the season, and Bruno Spengler, the reigning champion. Then it's Jamie Green for Britain and Dirk Werner, the German. 4th row of the grid, we've got Gary Paffett alongside the youngest man in the race, of course, Pascal Wehrlein, 18 years old, car number 18. Danny Juncadella and Christian Vitoris, both for Mercedes-Benz, rounding out the top 10. Then Miguel Molina, still looking for his first points of the year, and Adrian Tambay. Then it's Albuquerque and Timo Scheider. Timo still not really having a great season. Remember, he's on the pole at the very first race of the year. Joey Hand and Edo Mortara involved in that incident at the Norris Ring. Then it's Timo Glock, the former Formula 1 driver for the Marussia team, and Robert Wickens, the other end of the grid for the previous race. Martin Tomczyk and Marco Wittmann, BMW struggling with those two cars. And then Andy Prio and Roberto Merri bringing up the rear. So that's the 22. And here they come, waiting for that start. Tensions are high, temperature just a tiny bit under 30 degrees. Everybody almost in place now. There's Jens Marquardt with the Bart Manthey of the Belgian team, run 2 of these cars. There's Mr. Schattling from Mercedes-Benz in charge this weekend, as Toto Wolff is not here. Ernst Moser gets a final few words from Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, and the lights have already gone. 5, they've gone out, and cracking start there from the pole sitter. Werner was away quite slowly, but a relatively clean start, and through that very fast corner around the side of the paddock. And then the next left-hander, and it's Rocky in the lead in the bright yellow and green car. Farfus still in 3rd place, and then we saw Bruno Spengler in 4th. And Rockenfeller certainly made a fantastic start. Although the first 3 have pulled away from the rest of the field. Absolutely extraordinary looking down on this racetrack, just a year old. Paffett there in 6th place we can spot. Just seeing Wickens, looks as if he's made a little bit of progress. Now just about to complete the first lap then. Here they come for the end of lap 1 with a 0.9 of a second lead already from Rockenfeller over Ekstrom. Then it's Farfus, then it's Green. Werner, Juncadella, Molina, Vitoris. Prio bringing up the rear, Hand in 17th place just ahead of... and damage there. Saw some damage there to Juncadella. Just got tagged and he's lost a bit of the rear wing. Let's see the start again. Well, Farfus didn't make a brilliant start, and Werner made a pretty poor one, but didn't lose that many positions. There they go. See, Tomczyk went right across to the other side. The white BMW is puff of smoke from Paffett's car. Here's another angle. Vitoris making a pretty good start there. There's the smoke from Paffett. There was Juncadella going off and just catches a Hankook sign as well. What happened? Oh, I think he got a bit of a helping hand there from Molina. And picking it up on lap 2 with Rockenfeller, pulling away a bit more from Ekstrom and Farfus and Green. Paffett, Spengler. There is Spengler under a bit of attack. And it's Tambay, look, in the silver Audi. And young Adrian Tambay in his 2nd season goes past the black BMW and go on board with Bruno Spengler in the car carrying the number 1 plate. Rockenfeller in the lead, Ekstrom under pressure from Farfus for 2nd spot. Juncadella seems to be going okay, despite the loss of that bit of the rear bodywork. Again on board with Bruno Spengler. Lap times down into the 59-second mark, and Farfus putting the pressure on. On to Ekstrom for second place. There's the top three in your screen. You've got Paffett, best of the Mercedes-Benz. Green goes through that fast fourth gear corner. There's Paffett and Werner just moving up a spot, and an incident there, and that is Molina who turns round Spengler, and I wonder if Spengler's car has been damaged. Now he's working at the wheel to see if all the four wheels are pointing in the right direction. And there is Miguel Molina from Spain. He's been having a pretty poor season, to be honest. Almost got dropped by Audi at the start of the season. There, straight into Spengler. And Molina just carrying too much speed. There was no way he was going to get through there. And that's the moment of impact there as it turns him around. And just missed by Wickens.
Miguel, you had the collision with Bruno Spengler. Don't you think it was avoidable?
I saw the spot and then I dive in because also Werner was overtook him. And yeah, I dive in. Maybe it was too close, and then I think he didn't show me that I was in the inside, and we had the collision. But anyway, now the car was also broken, and yeah, we will think in the next race.
You are out of the race. You think you're gonna have a chat with Bruno after the race?
Yeah, for sure we will have a chat. I have no problem to speak with him.
Okay, thank you very much, Miguel.
I don't think he's going to be very happy. There he is, Spengler. Well, they're not really looking around the car to see any damage. So quite a few different strategies going on here. So Rockenfeller is on the faster option tyre. Ekstrom, who has already made an early pit stop, is on the regular tyre, as you can see. Yellow means the option. It'll be interesting to compare the speed on the two different tyres. It won't be desperately different. Ekstrom in and out. So Ekstrom running a different strategy to quite a lot of the other cars, as he does on occasion. The two Red Bull cars now running together. Just 8 laps in at the moment. Paffett keeping a watching brief there. And virtually everybody is now on the options. Ekstrom, the highest placed driver who has made a pit stop and getting his head down and putting in some pretty quick laps. And in fact, doesn't show on your screen, but Ekstrom is lapping quicker than Rockenfeller. So we'll have to wait until Rocky makes his stop to see how much difference that has made. Rockenfeller, then Farfus and Tambay, Verline and Werner, and then Wickens, but everything mixed up with these different tyre strategies that are going on. DRS being used, but it doesn't seem to be making that much difference. The only one place you can use it is into the last corner. Prio just going through in the Crown Plaza machine. And that interesting graphic showing the difference between Rockenfeller and Ekstrom. Oh, here's a close one. Here is Tomczyk and Juncadella with that bit missing. And Tomczyk goes through. Juncadella obviously lost a bit of rear end grip with that aero part gone. The Taurus comes in. But just going back to that graphic, that really indicated that when Ekstrom sees Rockenfeller coming out of the pits after his first pit stop, they should be very close together. The vector here, the time it takes to come into the pits, stop and go out again, cost them 29 seconds. So that's a key number, really. As Hand goes through, and look at Hand. Hand's making good progress. In fact, he's in 11th place. He's made a stop. There's Verline. And young Pascal done such a good job in his surprise first year in the DTM. Thought he'd be in Formula 3 for another year. Little inspection there. Gerhard Unger getting right in there. The boss of AMG looking at the tyres. Here's Spengler struggling, I think, a bit with his car now. There's Mortara. And that super... Oh, don't come near me. Rockenfeller continues to lead. Farfus, Tambe putting in some very good laps. Next on the fastest man, having made a pit stop. Nice little battle though there. Here's Juncadella coming out. And came out just in front of the group, led by Mortara. Just had to take a slight avoiding action. Nice little look at Mortara, and more bodywork flying there. So battles all down this field as we used to in the DTM, and here's Bruno Spengler. He's down in 20th place, and the man who came into this race in second place in the championship, and of course is the reigning champion, just seems to be slipping back. A little surprised he hasn't come into the pits to retire the car if it's that ill handling. There he is, and there's Rocky about to put him a lap down. He's just gone past Prio, put him a lap down. There's Rocky's move, leading two in the championship. Paffett's on a different strategy as well. He's up to 8th place, running behind fellow Brit Jamie Green. Farfus makes his pit stop there. Farfus will come out. And where is he going to cycle in? Just behind Ekstrom. Rockefeller continuing to stay out, as is Tambe, making these option tyres work really well, and Mortara is in. And problems for Edo Mortara. Had that little clash with Juncadella climbing out the car. Not sure if that's the reason why he's retired, but Eve Shear is down in the pits, and she's going to get the answer.
I think it was due to Juncadella. I was on the outside. I think he locked the front wheel, went wide, and obviously I was still there. And when I crossed him, you know, we had some contact. And then obviously Wittmann came. We made like slight contact, and you know, then we decided to stop the race because the car was starting to be very difficult to drive.
Last year he won 2 races for Audi. This year just a terrible season. So Edo Mortara struggling, and another retirement from him. Rockenfeller and Tambe still staying out. That Hankook option tyre keeps running. Just interesting to monitor the lap times between Rockenfeller. Just warning there from the race control. Some drivers have been penalised. There is that key, and Rockenfeller only 26.7 seconds ahead of Ekstrom. So that means that when Rockenfeller comes in, he will probably use up some 29 seconds. He will come out, I should say, behind Ekstrom. Will he be allowed to stay there? That's the big question. I think it's unlikely. I think we're in the second half of the season now. This is round 6, and I think team orders will come into play, but let's see what happens. That big grandstand virtually full. A couple of other races here for Lada Saloons and the Formula Russia cars, single-seaters. So the crowd's been entertained, and also by the drifters that we saw out there. But this is what they came to see. Rockefeller still leading then, still staying out there, almost halfway through the race. And Merry is challenged and goes back a lap, running down there in 20th place. Roberto Merry in his second season, the former European Formula 3 champion, another Spaniard in this series, but being humbled quite a lot by Juncadella. There's Farfus and Green now chasing Farfus. Remember, BMW have 8 cars this season. Last year, in their first season returning to the DTM, they won the championship in such a spectacular fashion. Just beating off Gary Paffett. Been a while now since Paffett's won the championship, of course, but he's always there or thereabouts. Paffett has made a second pit stop, as have a number of others. Now, how will that strategy work out? He's made a second pit stop and he is in 11th place. And there you see Ekstrom just going faster than Rockefeller, just a few tenths of a second every lap. But now the gap is 25.7. But remember, Rockefeller has yet to make his first pit stop. A little confusing for some, perhaps. You've got people who have made both stops, Paffett on that particular strategy. Some people have made one stop, and then Rockefeller and Tambay have made 0 stops. Farfus and Green in a good fight. It's very smooth racetrack here. As Farfus pulls off to come into the pits, pulls off the main straight, locks it up. See the line there? You have to get it right down to the pit speed limit for there. Then that tight left-hand corner. Gary Paffett there being chased, and there's the Farfus pit stop, 3.5 seconds for him. Seen a couple of under 3 second stops in this race. And Paffett on the inside of Farfus, and they're wheel to wheel, but Farfus has got the inside line here, and Farfus fends off Gary Paffett as Rockefeller comes up behind him. Remember, on completely different strategies. Paffett will want to measure his speed up against those fast runners. Here's Ekstrom again in the Red Bull car with the red markings. And you see timing there. Has the gap come down? Yes, it has, by another 0.7 of a second. And this is looking good for Ekstrom, the Swede, as long as he's allowed to win. Waiting for... Here's the Rockefeller pit stop. This is vital. Let's see how quickly they do that. 3.5 seconds. And where's he going to come out? In reference to the other Audi. And here it comes, sweeping round the left-hander now. And Ekstrom goes into the lead. And those laps in fresh air for Ekstrom put him in front of Rockefeller. Remember, Rockefeller's car run by Phoenix Racing, and of course Ekstrom with the top apt squad. The cars exactly the same. Gone are the days when we used to have the older cars, and remember it was Martin Chomchik in these colours for Phoenix that won the championship a couple of years ago in the older car. And here is Marco Wittmann coming in. Wittmann in the Ice Watches car with those stripes on it. And he has a 5-second penalty for not respecting the track limits, and he comes out, whoa, right in front of Tambay. And Tambay going 56 laps on that first set of option tyres. They go that long. Here's the BMW. You can see the paint on the side showing they are brand new tyres. And he is off, and he comes out just in front of Adrian Tambay. Tambay's been doing some great laps. He's going to be in with a pretty good points-paying position here. But the main story is here, Ekstrom versus Rockenfeller. Are there Audi team orders? There's that. Well, he was released by the official and very nearly tagged by Tambay in the Audi Ultra Silver machine. Ekstrom then, Tambay have to do one more stop. Rockenfeller has done his second stop. Timo Scheider at the moment moved up to 4th. Scheider having a bit of a better run. Hand has made good progress. He's shown in 8th place. And again, nice shot there of Ekstrom. Just to go back through that situation at the Norris Ring, remember he won the race. In the Parc Fermé, his father poured a bottle of water into the pocket of his race suit. We understand it was certainly nothing to do with weight. Anyway, that is really not allowed by the regulations, and he was disqualified from the race. But did the punishment fit the crime? I think not. I think a fine might have done it. But anyway, he lost that victory, and after an appeal by Audi, they decided that no one had the victory. Here is Ekstrom then. Here's a key stop from Ekstrom. Where's he going to come out? And has there been a bit of engineering been going on? And yes, there has. Because there goes Rockenfeller into the lead. And that man there is a team player. Prio just goes past him, but Prio a lap down. Not happy with the handling of his car. So now we only have Tambay, who hasn't made the second stop. And of course that leads Tambay in the lead at the moment, but Tambay is about 15 seconds ahead, and now he comes in. And so he will drop to maybe 4th place. A little bit of break up on our camera there as Tambay blasted out. The V8 engine, 4 litres, remember 470 horsepower in these DTM machines as we are in the closing 6 laps of this race. And it's Audi first with Rockenfeller, then Ekstrom. Then it's Farfus. Tambay has dropped to 4th. It's Paffett and Green who've been having quite a little tussle. And then Hand in 7th place. So Hand's worked hard, the Californian, coming to here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he's racing a Daytona prototype with Tony Kanaan the previous weekend. Busy racing driver from California. But here is Farfus with Tambay pushing hard now. Got completely fresh tyres on, remember. And what can Farfus do? Can he hold him back? That's the question now. Or will we get an Audi 1, 2, 3? And he tries, and as this works, he's got his nose ahead, but of course the inside line is for Farfus, and Farfus keeps his line, and a great shot from overhead as Tambay has to drop in behind him. 3 laps remaining. Good attack by the young Frenchman, who really has matured in this series, but the old hand Farfus, all those races in the World Touring Car Championship, keeps him back. And there, Spengler goes back another lap. And he's going to be a pretty unhappy French-Canadian when this is over. And seeing his position right near the top of the championship table slipping back. Remember, we've had 5 races this season. Now I choose my words. We've had 5 different people cross the finish line first. One of them not declared a winner in the end. But shows how close the DTM season is here. Rockenfeller, Ekstrom, Farfus, Tambay, Paffett and Green, who had a bit of a rubbing match with Paffett really pushing hard. And the gap, 1.6 seconds. There's Rocky. Rockenfeller, the winner at Brands Hatch, could be the second time winner of the season. And Juncadella now in 18th place. Look down again on that battle for the final spot on the podium. And now on to the last lap here. You can see bits of the 4-kilometre circuit. Maybe they'll switch to that next year, who knows. Also news just coming through that there will be a DTM race in China next season, returning to China. We don't know which circuit yet. Certainly won't be the Shanghai street race they used a couple of years back, so it wasn't popular at all. But this is going to be Rocky's race, and here comes Mike Rockenfeller on his final lap. Juncadella second on the road, but of course a lap behind, and Rocky turns in here and comes towards the checkered flag, and the checkered flag falls, and Mike Rockenfeller increases in lead in the championship. Dutifully, Matthias Ekstrom, who for most of the race was quite a bit quicker than Rockenfeller, takes the second place. And then Farfus holds off Tambay for third. Paffett is fifth, Green is sixth, Hand in seventh place. Ernst Moser is celebrating there, the boss of Phoenix Racing. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich comes up to him. And let's look at that result then after 74 laps here. Our first DTM race in Russia. Rockenfeller, Ekstrom, Farfus, Tambay, Paffett, Green, Hand, Werner, Schneider, victorious. In 11th place is Wehrlein. So a good day for Audi, a good day for Mike Rockenfeller. And they're 12 through 22. That's the rest of the field.
Second pole position, second victory. Now you really can concentrate on the title.
I'd still try to focus from race to race, like I always said. Of course, we all try to win the championship, that's normal. But for me, nothing changed. I'm really happy today. I enjoyed with my boys. And then we see where we are next race.
The next race is at the Nürburgring. Here's the points now. 94 to Rockenfeller, 67 to Spengler, 57 to Paffett, 56 to Vitoris. And then it's Farfus, Wickens, Ekstrom, Whitman, Werner and Hand. That's the top 10 in the series. But Rockenfeller now well in the lead of this series. What will happen at the Nürburgring? But first, let us hear from the man who finished in second place, Matthias Ekstrom.
I had a very good day. I mean, good start, solid first laps, and then I have to say the biggest pleasure was to just drive the car. The setup was perfect. Florian had made probably the best I ever had. The car was nearly driving by itself, and the tires were lasting forever. So it's pretty nice. And at one stage I was leading, and I thought, we'll see what will happen if I can race for the win. But then the blue flag and traffic was costing a lot of time, and then I had a little problem with the brakes. And in the end, P2 is very much okay. Sometimes that feels like the victory as well.
Yeah, he's the corporate man, isn't he? Vitaly Petrov hands out the trophy. But Ekstrom very much back in the speed, isn't he? But Mike Rockenfeller having an absolutely brilliant season as well. And good job from Phoenix Racing. Oh, almost drops the trophy. Now we can go down to the man who finished very happily in third place.
And I think Augusto is quite happy after your victory at the season opener, now P3. Good result, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's not bad. We had some tough weekends, the last two events. And now it's always great to be back on podium. I think we were not the fastest car on track, but we managed with a good strategy and with a hard drive on track to keep this P3. So I'm very pleased for the team. I think we definitely achieved an amazing result. Now, it's great to do some big points. Now let's look forward. We have next round soon, so let's try to keep the momentum.
Keep up that momentum. Let's hear from the man that he was racing wheel to wheel with. Excellent drive from Adrian Tambay.
I tried to push him in the last corners. I was actually much quicker because he was on more used tires. And at the end of the day, I think it was close and it was a fair battle, even if he pushed me a bit too much on the outside. But I know Augusto is like this, he never gives up. So yeah, would have been even better P3, but coming from P12 was a fantastic race.
I said I thought Bruno Spengler wouldn't be very happy after a race. Yves Scheer is down there with him. How is he?
Only P19, a big disaster for the championship, no points.
Well, to be honest, at this moment now I don't really think about the championship or don't really care. I just
I'm just very disappointed because Miguel Molina drove into me in turn 1 and just crashed into me without braking, and probably hoped that I would fly until the barriers, but he didn't make it. Anyway, I spun, and because of him, and then from there on my race was done because my car was completely upside down after the crash.
There's the incident. Here's Ernst Moser.
Such a happy Mike Rockenfeller, his second win, and now I'm here with Ernst Moser, his team manager, smiling from one side to the other side. I think I've seen a little tear in your eyes. It's a big step for the championship, another title perhaps for the Phoenix team, 27 points ahead.
The weekend was really perfect for us. I think we do everything right, and Rocky have a really good speed. We make no mistakes on the pit stops. The pit stops are really good, and strategy we can. When you have the right speed, you can do your strategy as you like. And this was really we enjoyed the race because this was what we want. We can win, and we won.
Yes, and next time it will be your home route. So see you next time at the Nürburgring, and hope to see you guys next time also in the Eifel for a next fantastic and thrilling round of the DTM 2013. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye from Eve, and it's bye-bye from me, Andrew Marriott. And we'll leave you with some of the highlights of the first ever DTM race in Russia.